Ready? All right, good morning.
Good morning. Well, you talked about the 2.6 second threshold before, so, yeah, 3, excuse me, I'm sorry, misspoke.
Oh, correct you on camera or anything, yeah. God forbid, yeah.
Is that even just more imperative this week with Mahomes and the playmakers they have, and how much of an emphasis is that for you?
Definitely. I mean, we go through the profiles and the objectives each week, and that's clearly one of the objectives for playing against their offense and frankly how we play. So we're actually going to take a segment of today's practice and work the scramble drill. So Patrick's outstanding at it. You can just see that. I think between 20-23% of their plays are extended plays. So it's a major focus for us this week.
Is that do you normally have a scramble drills in your practice, or is that something that you've added for this week?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it in training camp. So, we did it a few times early at the start of the season. But, you get to this time of year trying to start to cut back and certain things. But it'll definitely be in this week.
What is the focus? I mean, we understand what the offense is trying to do. What do you want the defense to do on those scramble drills? Like, just stick your guy? I mean, or is it you have zones like, your guys going this way and Mahomes will throw it back on this side of the field? I mean, just like.
Well, I think it's like anything. I mean, understanding what the opponent's trying to do, regardless of what side you're on it. I mean, as far as the offense, the ability to extend the play and build a triangle on the move for the quarterback. I mean, it's still about spacing and relationship, setting a quarterback-friendly angle to get the ball distributed to you. So that's the offensive. Defense is the biggest thing is the plaster. You'll see time and time again that particularly defensive perimeter players get stuck with their eyes going back to the quarterback, and it gives the receiver an opportunity to create separation and give the quarterback a window to throw the ball. So, and then obviously the pass rush element, because if you do have the rush lane discipline, I mean, he's not one that goes outside. He does a really good job setting the rush high and coming up in the vacated A or B gap. So, I mean, those are the little things that you practice and emphasize, and he's outstanding at it.
Does it make it more difficult because he's unconventional? You're taught not to throw the ball back across the middle of the field, I guess. And most people understand that's the tendency. Don't throw the ball back across the middle of the field. He does that and is successful with it.
Well, we've always taught, it's one of the mortal sins of quarterback players never throw the ball late down the middle. But when you can throw it as far as he does, I mean, sometimes he throws all the way across the field. It's very, very impressive, his ability to put the ball where he needs to.
What has been your assessment of his play this year specifically?
Well, I mean, I'm aware of the numbers, as far as the turnovers, takeaways, but I think just like anything in our game, the last game, I mean, he's AFC Offensive Player of the Week. I think it shows you not only what he's capable of, he's played at that level for a long time already. It's established himself in the league as an MVP quarterback. So, that's the quarterback we're preparing for.
Tyron Smith be limited today, and just how will he work back in this week?
Tyron will be limited. He'll go through the individual segment practice, and then we'll assess where he is.
What about Lawrence or Gallimore? Will they do more?
They're still in the rehab group. Yeah.
Will any of the players who are currently on injured reserve have their 21-day practice windows started this week?
Not today. Yeah, not today.
Where's their line as far as the COVID list, and has anyone else been added? Or?
My understanding is Greg gets back Thursday, tomorrow. So we have not added anybody today.
Mike, offensively, is this week at Arrowhead any different, having to prepare for the noise, a place you coached at and are familiar with?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at the statistics just of the crowd noise. I mean, I think it was when we went up to Minnesota, it was about 120 decibels. Where Arrowhead's been to 140. So I mean, that's what we're preparing for, and it's an incredible environment. Not a lot of our players have played there, so just give them a little snippet of what it looks like today and what it sounds like. So noise will be a big part of our preparation this week.
Do you believe in measuring stick games, Mike, and is this one, even though you all have a better record than the Chiefs?
Well, you're talking about defending champion here. Absolutely. I mean, these guys are extremely well coached, have great respect for Andy Reid and for the way he's done it for decades in this league. And, yeah, I mean, this is an important game. It's an uncommon opponent. So, we're going to spend a little more time. We've already done it this morning and in the classroom and in the walkthrough part of it. We feel like we need more time on the video together. So, yeah, I mean, it's about getting the road win. I think we know where we are, and I know where they want to go. So, I mean, you're going to see a clash of two really good football teams Sunday afternoon.
What do you make of Dak's decision-making? You know, a lot of quarterbacks can have low interceptions because they won't throw the ball down the field, just check it down and things. He's the guy who's up there in yards per attempt. What do you make of Dak's ability?
Well, I mean, we're definitely with our design of plays. I would put us in more of the aggressive category. So I mean, we're not a dink and dunk offense. So I think the point I'm making with his completion percentage, I think it's shows you the type of player he is and just the kind of year he's having. So I think his decision making overall, as a whole, has been excellent. So the interception ratio is a little higher. You'd like to be 1.7 or less. Historically is the way we look at it. But it's a long year. Those are numbers really more for it at the end of the season. You go back and evaluate. I think you can get yourself crossed up, holding to those numbers in mid-season. But I think he's very smart with the football.
If Tyron Smith coached, that would in theory be the first time that we'd see potentially all these starters on the offensive line. But is it as simple as that? In other words, do you still find yourselves tinkering with some of the positions there?
No, I mean, Tyron's, he's gonna, we'll see how he goes today. I mean, today is a big, the goal would be for Tyron to get a full week's work. So, other than that, we'll just continue to work all the different combinations. It's, so I mean, this is kind of normal this time of year.
You guys made an emphasis in the offseason to improve the defense, but after last week's game, what kind of confidence is this defense playing with right now?
Our defense is playing with great confidence. I think, number one, you look at the number of 32, 33 players that have played already on the season on defense, and not only are they confident, they're all chomping on the bit to play more, and which to me is a very healthy, competitive defensive room, and then that's what you want. So the communications has definitely improved. You can see the connection is more and more. This is a huge challenge. I mean, this is as an explosive as an offense that I think you'll see, in our season. So, but yeah, I clearly think our confidence is growing. We come off a performance Sunday, based on our own personal analytics, is the highest rated performance of my time, using this system. So we want to build off that performance.
The Chiefs lead the league in yards after catch. What jumps out specifically about Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and what makes them so productive?
Yards after the catch, I mean, obviously Tyreek just is so quick and explosive, and his vertical speed. I mean, he has it all with the ball in his hand. And Kelce, I mean, my goodness, for his size and his ability after the catch, obviously he's him and Patrick are on definitely on the same page. You can see it on their inside option routes and things like that, the anticipation that they both play with. But I mean, his yards after the catch profile tape is extremely impressive. I mean, it's obviously it's one of our primary focal points.
What's your philosophy when it comes to the timing of when to let Kellen know that this is 4-down territory? When does it enter your mind, and when's your benchmark of when you want him to know that?
Well, I mean, obviously you'd like to give it to him on second down, so because it'll affect his third down call. So yeah, I mean, it's something that, just like anything in game planning, you have an anticipation of when you're going to do it and going into the game, but the in-game communication is, obviously you want to give it to him as soon as possible.
How much of this game plan where it's, hey, I'll be pretty inclined to be more aggressive today? Is that something that is discussed over the course of the week?
It's like no other. It's just like all the other situations. I mean, you go into short yardage, first and 10, normal D&D on this side of the 50. Or I mean, you have general spots in the game where you want to be more aggressive, and you have games where you're spots in the game that you go into where you're not going to be as aggressive. I mean, it's no different on fourth down.
Do you see a lot of similarities between these two teams and the way they're built? And did you guys model yourselves in any way after them, given the success they've recently had?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I have a lot of respect for them, but I wouldn't say we sat down and, so we're going to, we want to be like the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I think they play in a different division. I think if you look at their division, I mean, the tight end position, I mean, there's definitely some carryover now that, we're into these AFC West teams, and you're watching them on film, and you can see, and I think that's normal in any division because, they're obviously the beacon of their division and frankly of the NFL. I mean, just for their success, particularly the last 3 years. So, but yeah, they're in our cut-ups. You know, they're part of some of the things we look at postseason, you know, in season as far as trends. So, but I wouldn't say we model ourselves after them.
Dax spoke after this past game about Anthony Brown's leadership. When you have so many young guys on defense, what type of role do you look for him to play in keeping that continuity as a veteran?
I think like anything in leadership, you got to give guys opportunities, and I can't say enough about Anthony Brown. I mean, his professionalism every single day. He's playing with such confidence. You know, this year compared to last year, I think he's having a heck of a year. He was our designated captain to talk before the game. He was outstanding. I think everybody really felt him before we went out on the field. He inspired me for the theme I'm going to use in the morning. So he's definitely really stepped up his leadership.
Since the start of spring in general, how much of that leadership in the locker room have you seen develop from start of OTAs to today?
I mean, let's be honest, winning helps, no doubt about it, but it's definitely encouraged, and you know, I think our leadership council does a really good job of being proactive. You know, just with things that we haven't had much where we've had a talk after the fact. You know, I think that they do a good job of, you know, just echoing the message, and you know, we've tweaked some things just to you know, help our environment. You know, as far as practice and you know, stuff like that. So I really like the leadership of our football team, and it continues to grow.
Can you share what Anthony said that you might be going forward with?
Well, you know, I mean, his message was, you know, more about, you know, we talk about everybody, you know, coming in here to AT&T and giving us their best shot. You know, it's time for us to just start shooting at everybody else and not worrying about that. So this was the gist of it.
Given that watermelons and last week helped for you, do you have any creative ploys this week to motivate the team without giving it away?
Wish I had something to give you. Yeah, I mean, no, we're just trying to emphasize some of the same things over and over, just with, you know, different selection of words.
With two uncommon opponents within such a short period, how does that impact the staff and what you give the players versus what you normally would if it was a little bit different situation?
Well, I mean, the history of playing on Thanksgiving, and I think we've all been part of it. You know, definitely you're part of it every year here in Dallas. But my approach was you always install more. You know, our installation is heavier today. It'll be a little heavier tomorrow. So with the thought, we call them corresponding concepts. You know, corresponding things that you feel like there will be carryover from the Kansas City game to the Raider game. So that will be our approach all week.
Their defense is aggressive. How do you feel you guys have dealt with the blitzing and what the opposing defense has done to you in that?
Definitely. I think we're doing a good job. I mean, we definitely can improve. You know, we've had some inside pressures. You know, we spend a lot of time on self-scout. We're really encouraging our younger players specifically to stay on top of their self-scout video that's available to them. And, you know, whether it's the inside pressures that we got hit on 2 of those early in the season in normal D&D, you know, versus our play action pass. So we tend to still rep that just because, you know, we haven't seen it, but just learn from, you know, they watch the tape too. So, you know, just anticipate it. But Steve's has a long history. I mean, you can still see the influence of Jimmy Johnson and his defensive pressures. And, you know, so I'm big in the history of a coordinator just to try to anticipate maybe which direction he's going to go. But our players do a really good job in the video aspect.
Tyler Biadasz, have you seen the strides that you've been looking for over the course of the season's kind of gone on?
Good point. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think Tyler's put together some really good games, more from the function and the declaration and in the command and in the operation, and that's important. You know, I think, you know, your battery, you know, between your quarterback and in the center and even the guards for the most part, for, you know, because particularly with the challenge we're going to have here at Arrowhead with the noise, those guys got to be really on the same page. So I think Tyler's doing a really good job.
Do offenses get to the point where you want to see that pressure? You know, because there's opportunities for big plays when they do bring it.
I mean, just the way, you know, every offense is different. Everybody views protection, you know, a little different. You know, are you proactive with the adjustments? Are you hot? Are you a blitz side adjust team? So I mean, I think it's like anything in this league. If you just do one thing, you know, the opponent will figure it out and can stress you out that way. So, you know, the ability to be flexible but be detailed and have those answers is important. So, yeah, definitely, you know, with our perimeter group, you know, I hope they every week you hope for a little pressure because it gives us a chance to catch a one-on-one, and, you know, we feel our guys can score in that situation.
In terms of like using silent snap counts and so forth, how much did playing in Foxborough and playing in Minnesota bring those elements out that you might need this week?
Yeah, this definitely will be probably a, you know, Minnesota plus environment. So, you know, it's actually what I referred to this morning in the meetings. This is going to be, you know, a little louder in the Minnesota game.
Other than going spinal tap and cranking it up to 11 with the noise in practice, what can you do to try and replicate?
Just don't go spinal tap and crank it up best you can. I mean, that's you know, but no, you know, the walkthroughs are important. You know, we don't just always just need the noise to work it. So, but yeah, we'll definitely spend time on a lot of time on the cadence because, you know, both quarterbacks are outstanding at cadence. You know, Dak does a great job. We've had 4 free plays in the last two weeks, and obviously Patrick's doing a great job of that also.
Aaron was a guy who had multiple arm angles when you were with him in Green Bay. Is this guy even more
Yeah, they're
than
very
that?
similar. Yeah, I mean, I think their styles are very similar. I think Patrick does a great job of setting a rush high and coming out through the A and B gaps, which, you know, in my view, always gives you a little more time in a scramble. Plus, its ability to be scrambling and where the offense is, you know, protector is still engaged with the rush element from the defense. So, and I think with that, you know, he's very comfortable doing that too. So, I mean, you'll see him step up in the A and B gaps, you know, right as the stun is clearing, and so he has great confidence in doing that. So, this is definitely above the 2.3 game.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.